Hello America, my name is Armand. Now, I wanted to at least sit here and do something about the problem that we're all facing. Most of what the news has been saying about how bad it is, it's much worse than that. I'm in real estate. That's been my business for the last 25 years. Now, during this time, I've seen all sorts of markets go up, come down. I've never ever seen anything like this, what's about to come. We all know for the last 4 or 5 years what the market is declined some 40-45% on your house values. I mean, the good times we figured it's not going to ever end. It not only ended, now it's going to crash pretty hard. In the next 2 to 3 years maximum, if even that. Government had predicted this already, but it's here. The commercial market, which nobody's talking about. Okay, now what is it that they're not talking about? As far as you saw the house values dropping 40%, the houses are worth, let's say what, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. Commercials worth in the millions. We're talking about office buildings, strip centers, shopping centers. There's currently, according to what I've seen, and I'll show it to you, there's multiple listings for houses. Well, there's something equivalent to that for commercial. It's called LoopNet. On their screen, on their computers, if you open up to their website, you'll see 800,000 commercial properties listed for sale in LA County. Not across the US, we're talking about LA County only here. Each one in their millions is the value, and each one is 30 to 40% vacancies. They all have a balloon payment due. None of them are going to be sold. There's an enormous tsunami, financial tsunami that's headed our way. Now, I've been doing real estate for quite a few years. I used to have a mortgage company, used to sell loans straight into the market. Hell, I probably had a good hand in what all the market blowing up on our face. I probably had a pretty good hand in it myself. We did quite a few loans. I was servicing the American unions, Teamsters, United Food, Building Trades, on and on. Now, realistically, everybody's right now panicking as to what they're going to do about their houses. I'm going to put together a program where I'm going to be regularly adding to it. Now this, as I understand, most people have a 10-minute attention span. So we're going to keep this kind of short at the beginning. But I'm going to start talking about, as the next episodes, I'm going to talk about how to be able to get qualified for the mods, for the modifications. What does it take? I mean, why are 96 people out of 100 are getting turned down? Why? I'm going to give you a pretty detailed explanation and tell you exactly what you need to do to get qualified. Now, there's a lot of places that are talking about that. A lot of people that say, oh, well, come to our seminar, this or that. I've been in the business for 30 years, 20-some odd years, 28 years, something like that. That's a lot of years, actually. I got quite a bit of gray hairs that's painted over, so, you know. Realistically, there are ways to be able to still save your house. You can modify it. You already know that. Assuming the bank is even willing to cooperate with you. You can short sell it. Short sell being that you get the bank to discount it. That has its own, that's a dog with different fleas all by itself. I'll explain that as we go along. Nowadays, the most effective thing that some attorneys are trying to do is lawsuits against the bank. I'm going to explain all that in detail too. How are they doing this? What's the cause of action? How are they proceeding? The problem is that the banks, plural, they own all the best attorneys. That's a given. So they're making $400 an hour or more from the bank. They're not going to go against the bank and try to cause a wave. So what's left over? What we've got is we've got a handful of attorneys that are new, up-and-comers, retired ones, pro bono attorneys, whatnot, that are trying to fight on behalf of the people. Cards are kind of stacked against us, huh? It's always been stacked against us. I'm one of, essentially I want to say I'm one of the general public, because I'm not per se a part of the bank. I'm not a part of like an institution where I can be able to say, look, I'm going to try to give you one perspective of things. I'm going to actually give you the real perspective of what I understand. Now, what I'm asking you to do is to be able to think through what I'm telling you. You agree, you don't agree. Obviously you don't agree, you can turn this off, it'll be that. But what I'm asking you for you to do is not have an opinion. Everybody's got opinions. Just for a moment, don't have an opinion. Let's go through some of the facts as we go through it and take a look at what is coming and why. What the heck had happened? Okay, do we have less cows? Do we have less land? Less trees? What's less between a few years ago to now? Less money? What is money? Seconds on a clock hand, that's man-made. Longitude, latitude, that's man-made. Money, that's man-made. I mean, how do we run out of the paper? Well, we have no more paper? The whole concept of money has to be looked at really closely. Look at all this paperwork that I have here. Think about it. I've spent the better part of my life pushing this nonsense. Okay? There was a time I was doing 100 loans a month. I got fed up with it. I had stacks of this everywhere. What for? Why does it have to be like this? How many people are doing this? Downtown Los Angeles, take a look at it. Man-made mountains. Millions of people sitting in a cubicle wearing this noose around their neck. Doing what? What the hell are all they doing? They're not doing anything but keeping a track of each other, essentially. This industry is crazy. This money industry has become to such a point where the person that is actually doing something, the worker, the average worker, that makes a chair, this chair, for enough for everyone to sit on in their lifetime, at the end gets to be able to stand in a food line. Does that make sense? Now, I don't want to be very philosophical in these conversations, but I do want to be able to point this out because you have to look at it a little philosophically. Why am I doing this? I mean, what good is it going to do to be able to do this? You know, everything we say, somebody's taught us to say. Every word that comes out of my mouth comes from somebody at some given time in my life has taught me. So there's a river of consciousness, kind of, that we're all a part of. This conversation being out there, it's going to change the river. It's got to change the river. You're going to talk to the next person about it, on and on and on. This is necessary. I don't know at what point I got to be my age of 45, all of a sudden. To be frank with you, that was yesterday I was young. I used to sit there and listen to other philosophers and whatnot and be talking to my friends and saying, wow, look at that. But at some given time, we get to this point where we have to be able to stand up and actually say something for somebody else to be able to pick up on it. All I'm hoping for is for you to be able to listen and take this dialogue and pass it on to the next person. That's all. Now, whether or not you get to be able to see something different, I hope so. I've all my life I've been told, you look at things differently. I do. So, we're going to go through a few steps. I'm going to explain to you in the next few programs how to be able to, whatever there is to do actually with your real estate. What can you do with your real estate? To be able to actually have a roof over your head and not to have 10 people in one little apartment, you know, shacking together because there's 10 houses empty that the banks own now. The second thing is to talk about a little bit about what is this thing, money? Where did it all start from? And what are we all running after it for? What is that piece of paper that they can print, we can't print? They can have, we have to be able to be running after and be begging for it. And at the end, we get penalized because we don't have enough of it. They print it, but we don't have enough of it. So we get to lose our home, our efforts, our time. I mean, at the end of it, we get to see ourselves grow old, and what? We can't even be able to have a roof over our heads. The American dream, I don't think it was supposed to be like this. This is more of a nightmare. Other countries, people own homes. Nothing is different. Here, lately, they've made it very, very difficult for anyone to be able to even survive. I think you already know that. Let's see, it's been 10 minutes. So hopefully your attention span is longer than this, but we are going to just end it here. The next time when I come back, we're going to go ahead and discuss exactly what to do about your house.